Let's make a delicious plant-based gumbo. Welcome back to the Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show, where we make plant-based cooking easy. I'm Jill, and today we are going to make this delicious gumbo, but we're going to make it plant-based, which is perfect on a cold and blustery day like today here in North Carolina. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to get our mushrooms cooking. I already have my oven preheated to 400 degrees. And this is 8 ounces of mushrooms that I've just chunked up into little pieces. I just broke them with my hands and I put them on a tray with a piece of parchment paper. So we're going to put these in for about 25 minutes. We're really just wicking the moisture out of them, and these are just they're going to go into the stew, and it's going to be these delicious little chewy bits. So let's get them in the oven. Okay, so let's start getting some things in our pan. So typically a gumbo starts with a roux, but really a roux is just flour and oil. So we're not going to do that. We're going to thicken it at the end. We're just going to start with our vegetables. So this is one small onion that I've just cut into chunks that we're going to get sauteing, and 2 stalks of celery that I diced. We're just going to saute these a few minutes before I add my other ingredients, probably about between 3 and 5 minutes. And if it starts sticking a little, we can just use a little bit of vegetable broth just to get it unstuck from the pan. Whether you are new to a plant-based diet or a seasoned home chef, it can be a welcome relief to have someone else do the cooking at the end of a busy day. Whole Harvest is a meal delivery service offering nationwide shipping of authentic whole food plant-based meals that are oil-free and low in sodium with no added sugar. All meals are chef prepared fresh and come ready to eat in vacuum sealed containers, so you can just pop open the container, heat, and eat with no additional meal prep or cooking required. Simply choose your favorites from a wide variety of meals to create your weekly delivery box. It's that easy. As a special discount for our viewers, use code PLANTBASEDEASY at checkout to save $30 off your first order. Okay, our onions and celery are about done. Now we're going to add 1 bell pepper that I've chunked pretty small in little bite-sized pieces. 1 potato, and this is a Yukon Gold potato. You can use an Idaho potato too, but I find that these have just a little less starch, so they're going to stick a little less. And then 3 cloves of garlic that I've minced up pretty small. And now I'm going to add just a little bit of vegetable broth just to keep it from sticking. And while you're cooking this, we're really just cooking this to cook some of the raw out of those peppers. But just like I said before, if it starts sticking, just use a little bit of vegetable broth or even water just to unstick it. So we're going to let this cook for about another 5 minutes just to kind of get the vegetables softened a bit. Okay, so now on to our next ingredients. I have 1 can of diced tomatoes, 8 ounces of frozen okra. This is kind of the key ingredient here. This is just frozen, it's already chopped. Stick that in there. And then typically a gumbo is made with sausage, chicken, and shrimp. So 3 different types of meat. So we're making this meatless, but you want to have some little interesting little chewy bits in there, right? So this is a 1/2 cup of soy curls. I haven't done anything to them. I just broke them up into littler pieces. We're going to sprinkle that in there, and they're going to soak up that juice and get really soft and chewy, along with our mushrooms that are almost finished. And it's really great if you could find other kinds of mushrooms also. These are just regular button mushrooms, but it really would be great if you could find some oyster mushrooms or even chop up some king mushrooms. Those would be delicious. So now for our spices. We got 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, 3/4 of a teaspoon of oregano, 3/4 of a teaspoon of thyme, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, or 3/4 of a teaspoon of onion powder, sorry. 2 bay leaves, 1 tablespoon of white wine vinegar, or you can use apple cider vinegar too, and about 1/2 teaspoon of cracked pepper. Okay, and then I have 1 liter of low sodium vegetable broth, but I've already taken 1/2 cup out so that I can add that to the thickener in the end. So we're just going to pour all of this in there. And I'm gonna grab my mushrooms and we'll put it in and then we'll get it cooking. All right, so our mushrooms are done. If you wanna come in and take a look, these mushrooms are kind of like spinach. You know how when you cook spinach, raw spinach, it cooks down into these teeny little bits. So do mushrooms. But trust me, this is a step you don't wanna miss. So we're just gonna take our parchment here and add those to the soup. If you don't cook the mushrooms, the soup ends up, you know, you get a chunk of the mushrooms and they're really kind of chewy and rubbery. This makes them chewy, but in a good way. All right, so we're gonna let this simmer on about medium high or closer to high for at least 30 minutes because we're kind of wanting it to cook down into a thick broth, and all of these things soak up all of that delicious, delicious flavor and spices. So about a half an hour. While we're waiting for that, I'd like to share some background on our show. The Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show is crowd-funded, which means these free weekly recipe videos, along with our entire catalog of free printable recipes on our website, plantbasedcookingshow.com, and our Plant-Based Cooking Made Easy cookbook series, are all made possible in part by the generous patronage of our supporting membership community. So if you love our recipes, I invite you to join us on our mission to make plant-based cooking easy, and follow the link in the description to become a supporting member today. There's no denying the plant-based diet is a nutrient powerhouse, but did you know there are a handful of hard-to-get nutrients even well-crafted diets are often lacking? The latest research suggests that complementing your diet with a few specific vitamins, minerals, and omega-3s will help boost your energy and keep you thriving for the long term. That's why my daily health routine includes Complement Essential. Complement Essential contains the 8 critical nutrients lacking from most plant-based diets in dosages optimized specifically for us. As a special discount for our viewers, just use code PLANTBASEDEASY at checkout to save 15% off of your order. All right, now that it's been 30 minutes, first we're gonna take out our bay leaf here. There is another one in there, and I haven't been able to find it, but I will find it. Okay, so now we're gonna make our thickening sauce. So I've got half a cup of the vegetable broth here. Got a tablespoon of miso, we're gonna add that at the end. That is our salt replacement, a healthier salt replacement. Got a tablespoon of arrowroot powder. That is what's going to make this sauce thicken. So I'm just going to whisk these together just quickly, just to dissolve the miso. And that's a dark miso paste. Okay. Now we're just going to pour that in there. And we're going to cook this for probably about another 5 minutes or till it's the thickness that you desire. And I'm also going to add just a little bit of cayenne pepper. That's going to give it that heat that is typically in a gumbo. And that is completely up to you how much you want to put in there. I put about a quarter of a teaspoon. Okay, I'm just going to let that cook for about 5 more minutes and then I'll show you the finish. There it is, it just surfaced. All right, guys, come in and take a look. Our gumbo is finished and smelling amazingly delicious. So I'm gonna let this cool for a few minutes and then I'll meet you at the table for a taste. Okay, let's taste this gumbo. I've got some brown rice that I've cooked up. That's what I'm gonna eat mine over. Oh, look at that. Oh, steaming hot. All right. I try not to burn myself. Get a little of that okra. That is delicious. Come on back next week for another great recipe.